Everyone, welcome to Resident Indigo channel. Today I'm doing a season 8 and a season 9 recap of Supernatural. Just like I started all of these recaps, I'm going to be letting you guys what are the best episodes. I'll just go ahead and get started. Alright, for season 8, the best episodes to watch are episodes 1, 10, 22, and 23. The seasons are getting longer, by the way, but I don't know why they're getting longer, because they kind of... There's a lot of episodes now that you can kind of skip over at this point. The plot kind of starts slowing down a smidgen. There are great for character building, for beautiful, like, Sam and Dean brotherly moments, but again, overall plot, meh. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so, it's been a year since Dean is in purgatory. And he managed to escape purgatory all on his own. He literally claws his way out, which, that's such a Dean move to make. Anyways, he goes looking for Sam. He also, when he gets out of purgatory, he brings back someone in his arm. Someone from purgatory, obviously. So what could it be? Anyways, his name is Benny. They end up splitting ways. He ends up going to see Sam. Sam has been living hunky-dory. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Sam has a girlfriend and a dog, which he abandons when, like, his girlfriend turns out to be a widow who's actually not a widow. And is this Supernatural or a telenovela? like, really? And then guess what, guys? Sam stopped hunting for that whole year. He didn't even look for Dean when he went into purgatory, and he's like, oh, well, Dean, we always make a promise to each other not to look for each other. And I'm like, bro, where was that loyalty? Where was that I'm gonna keep that promise of people dying? When you opened up Lucifer's cage, when Dean was like, bro, my dying wish is don't mess with demons. Or when Pamela was like, bro, I'm dying, so stop, killing demons with your mind. You know, where was all that final wish, loyalty up in here? Okay. This is why I hate Sam. Okay, I mean, this by far has to be the worst thing he's ever done. Not look for Dean while he was in purgatory. I mean, what kind of, like, brother leaves his other brother to, like, suffer like that? You know, at least Dean was like, yeah, I know I made a promise to you not to look for you while you were, like, in the cage, but I at least tried. I couldn't find nothing, but I at least tried. Sam straight up's like, nah, man, I let you down. And he's like, what about everything else? And then we find out that Kevin was kidnapped by Crowley, like I said in season 7 recap, but also he escaped and he needed Sam's help, and he gets drunk out. Sam's like, yo, man, you suck, because he does suck. How come you don't help me? And, like, Dean's like, he's crying out for help and you were too busy. Like, what? Like, I'm just like, oh, I want to slap Sam. Poor Kevin. Anyways, we also find out that Kevin gets his hands on the demon tablet, and Crowley's been trying to force him to translate the demon tablet. Of course, Kevin's been finding loopholes. That's how he escapes. He's about to help Sam and DP. He's like, wait, let's first find my mom. So they go and find his mom, but by through, like, other means, as they find his mom, the demon tablet gets stolen away. It gets into this, like, supernatural, like, auction thing moment, and so at that moment his mom sacrifices her soul to get the tablet, but don't worry, her soul is attacked because Crowley cheats and tries to steal the tablet, but at the end of the day they prevent Crowley from stealing the tablet, but not before Kevin and his mom run away, because Dean almost killed his mom because she was possessed by Crowley for a second. And Sam's like, why would you almost kill his mom? That's his mom. She's like, he was possessed by Crowley. And considering everything Dean has gone through in purgatory, that his brother, I don't necessarily blame the guy. And so if you're like, you can just have a blind eye for Dean. No, I don't. Trust me. You guys should watch. You guys will watch my season 12 recap. You guys will see that I'm like, or is it season 11? One of those. But anyways, let's continue down this path. Sam meets Benny. Benny is the vampire who escaped with Dean from purgatory. Anyways, Sam doesn't like Benny because he's a monster. And then Dean's like, dude, he's cool. And you would think Sam would trust his brother. I mean, after all, his brother did trust him. Even after opening Lucifer's cage, even after doing all these things, his brother still trusted him, but the Sam trusted him. No. He ends up sending a hunter to check on Benny. And then, which causes Benny to have to kill the hunter because the hunter does something to force his hand. And then Sam is just so annoying. I hate Sam. I hate him so much in this season. I can't get over how much I hate him in this season. Where's Castiel? How come he's not out of purgatory? Dean kind of leaves him there, or so he thinks. We end up finding out that actually Castiel wanted to stay in purgatory because of the penance. He feels guilty for everything he did in heaven and everything. He's like, yo, it's all my fault. So he wants to stay, but what ended up happening, so like they're like, how are you back? Even Castiel doesn't know because the woman who brought him back, which is Naomi, she's the angel in charge of heaven right now. She's like, yeah, I brought you back, but I've been erasing your memory and everything, but forcing you to like listen to me and obey me with all my angel power. Like she pretty much manipulates Castiel because she wants to get her hands on the angel tablet. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, not only is there a demon tablet, there's an angel tablet, and it's the race to get the angel tablet. When Castiel like recruits Sam and Dean to get the angel tablet. He ends up breaking the spell between him and Naomi, and he ends up escaping. So now Sam and Dean are just are confused with what's up with Castiel, and I don't know why Castiel would escape from them. He's trying to protect the angel tablet. It's apparently his destiny instead of giving it to the prophet of the Lord. Anyway, speaking of the prophet of the Lord discovers that there's a way to close the gates of hell. Because there are trials to close the gates of hell. Crowley, of course, wants to stop them. He doesn't want this from happening. And there are 3 trials that you have to undergo. And anyway, Sam ends up taking up these trials for himself. He's like, I should do it. And eventually Dean complies. Also, I forgot to mention another reason that they also want to close the gates to hell is also because there is a new demon in town. It's a knight from hell. She travels through time and space to their time and brings along their grandfather from their dad's side. Which I think is hilarious. And so now they find out that their grandfather didn't actually abandon their son, and he was also a man of letters. Men of letters are pretty much the librarians for the supernatural world. So now they have like this cool looking new headquarters thanks to their grandfather. It has all this information about all like these new creatures and all things to defeat them. And they even have things that like they need for for doing the trials essentially. Another trial that they need to do is raise a spirit to heaven. And I know Sam didn't like Benny at first, but Benny's actually the one who helps him complete this trial. One of the soul that they choose to raise to heaven is Bobby's, because Bobby was dragged down to hell by Crowley, because Crowley was pissed that of the brothers, and he's like, this is my revenge. So they end up getting Bobby to heaven, which is beautiful. Definitely remember that Bobby's now in heaven. Sam's gonna like bring Benny back from purgatory, because the way to go to hell was through purgatory. Benny's like, now I'm gonna stay here, which is just such a sad ending for Benny. And this is why Sam sucks. Like, instead of letting his brother help Benny out, he just kind of hates Sam. Anyways, but they're closing the gates to hell, and so this inspires Cass. He wants to close the gates to heaven because another one of the trials of the gates through hell is that they have to cure a demon, and they don't know how to cure a demon. So then they go to Metatron, and Metatron is a scribe of God. Anyways, the scribe of God tells Cass, he's like, yo, in the angel tablet, you can also close the gates to heaven, because like with everything going on in heaven, we don't want like the civil war, like any of the remnants to fall down on earth, and it'll keep everyone to cool down. And so Cass is like, I think it's a great idea. Let's close the gates to heaven and hell. And he tells this to Dean. So Dean helps Cass try and close the gates to heaven, and then Naomi comes and tells him, yo guys, this is trapped by Metatron. He doesn't actually want the close the gates to heaven. He actually wants fallen angels. And they're like, wait, what? And then he's like, also as a proof of faith, if you complete those trials to close the gates to hell, Sam will die. So then Dean rushes to stop Sam from completing the trials, because another thing about curing a demon, they end up deciding to cure Crowley, and so the way to cure a demon is you have to inject them with human blood. Remember, that detail is a very important detail. It will be popping up again. And so that's pretty much the end of season 8. They end up stopping their closing of gates to hell. They end up having falling angels, and Crowley's addicted to human blood, and they now are men of letters. So that's the end of season 8. All right, let's get to the recap of season 9. And like I said, I was going to start all of these. What is important to note of season 9? The episodes to watch are episodes 1, episode 10, episode 11, episode 23. All right, so because of all the trials that Sam had to do, he is still dying. It still made him really weak, so he's on the verge of death. And so Dean decides to do something completely unprecedented. He's like, look, guys, I am Dean. He ends up praying to all the angels, and he's like, I am Dean Winchester, and if you guys help me save my brother, I will owe you a favor. There's eventually an angel called Ezekiel who comes and helps Dean. He's like, I can go into your brother's body and save him and help heal him. Like, he won't know I'm there. I'm just gonna save him. But he needs to say yes, because you have to say yes to allow an angel to take your body. Dean is like, okay, but we have to trick him into it because he's not gonna want to do it. So they trick Sam into it. It's very important that they trick Sam into it. Anyway, Sam doesn't know that Ezekiel's in his body. We also later find out that it's not Ezekiel that's in Sam's body. It's this angel called Gadriel, who was actually the very first fallen angel, or like the very first angel to commit a sin. He ends up letting Lucifer into the Garden of Eden, committing, like, everything is just pretty much the damnation of humans pretty much started through him. And so, like, all angels don't really like him. And so, and also, let's go back to the Metatron's master plan. So why he ended up convincing Castiel to do all those trials to close the gates of heaven while actually making all the angels fall was to, so he can become God. He wants to become God now. He said, I'm going to become God. The scribe of God wants to be God now. So now he's trying to do that. And of course, Castiel wants to stop him from becoming God. And he ends up, Metatron finds out that Ezekiel is in Sam's body and decides to recruit Ezekiel to his side. He's like, look, we can rule together. We can bring the best heaven ever. Come at me. And so, you will no longer be like that horrible, disgraced angel if you join my side. Gadriel agrees. And of course, when Castiel tells Dean who Gadriel is, Dean tries to tell Sam what's going on, but Gadriel prevents that from happening, and he also kills Kevin Tran because that's one of the things that they need to do. That Metatron requests. He's like, "This is the only way we're gonna be able to do it because the Winchesters are gonna try and stop us through Kevin Tran." And I'm like, Kevin, no, poor Kevin. As soon as he became a prophet, his life was hell. He was paranoid all the time. It was so sad. Anyways, eventually Sam ends up figuring out the truth. They end up using Crowley's help. Crowley goes into Sam's mind and tells him what's going on. So Sam expels Gadriel from his body, and so Gadriel ends up taking another vessel. And Sam's now pissed at Dean, and he doesn't want to talk to Dean. And I'm just like, out of everything you've ever done, Sam, you can't give your brother this one. He's like, you only saved me for yourself. I'm like, I can't lie. I don't think it's a complete false. I do think Dean did it for selfish reasons. But also, that's your brother. He's protected you from day one. Your brother's always going to want to save you. And you're always going to want... Actually, you should always want to save your brother because that's what you do when someone's in purgatory. I'm sorry. I still think Sam is wrong. Sam sucks. Oh! Anyways, when Sam leaves Dean, he leaves Dean in a sensitive, emotional mode. So guess who takes over? The king of hell, my one man. He tells Dean, he's like, look, we can, we need to get the first blade. The first blade will be able to kill Abaddon. He's like, why would I kill Abaddon? Because I'm like, because my hell is a perfect hell, essentially. I keep things in check. Versus her hell is just gonna be crazy. It's gonna be pretty much Lucifer, probably a little bit degree less. And so he's like, all right, let's kill Abaddon. So they end up trying to find the first blade, but the only way for the first blade to work, they discover, is to get the Mark of Cain. Which we later learn is the first curse. So they end up going to Cain himself. Of course, Cain and Abel story we learn. And then we end up going to Cain himself. He requests, he's like, look, it's a curse. You take this, you live with it. And he's like, and it makes you do makes you become this insane killer. Dean's like, I can handle it, and he takes the Mark of Cain so that he can possess the first blade. So now they're still looking for the first blade. They can't seem to find it, but then they eventually get the first blade. He eventually kills Abaddon, but now Dean is kind of a little trigger thirsty, and so he's just wants to kill everybody. Eventually, he ends up Gadriel ends up coming back to Sam and Dean, and he's like, look guys, I see the error in my ways. I want to help you guys stop Metatron because I see what Metatron's plan isn't a good plan. And then Dean is just too pissed and too hyped up on the Mark of Cain thing that he ends up wanting to kill Ezekiel, and so Sam and Castiel stop him. Yes, Sam is back. Sam, but he's like, we're not gonna be brothers anymore, Dane. We're just gonna be workers, and we're gonna just try and fix everything we've done, like closing the gates of heaven and everything. We're just that's the only thing. But after that, we're done. And I'm just like, and no more trying to save each other. And anyways, we get Charlie's back. Charlie's back for like 2 episodes, which is amazing. She ended up going to Oz in 1 episode, which I'm like, oh, Charlie, I love you. Yes, Oz exists. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm still a big fan of the whole Oz plot thing. That's just me. I don't know if y'all actually like it. I'm just like, anyways. So when Dean tries to kill Gadriel, sorry, that's a lot of names. Gadriel, they end up locking him down. He's like, yo, you need to like stop with this. So Dean ends up like calling out to Crowley. He's like, let's go. Like, help me escape. I want to kill Metatron. And sure enough, he lets Dean out, and Dean goes to Metatron. He tries to kill Metatron, but Metatron actually kills Dean, and then Sam is furious. He ends up killing. Well, Castiel is furious. He ends up taking Metatron's grace, and so Metatron is no longer ruling all of heaven. And now Sam was like, "I'm so sorry, Dean. I should never wanted you dead. I can't believe you died. I'm so sorry." And God, Sam is so annoying. But before the season ends, the final episode, we find out that Dean is actually now a demon because that mark ain't letting him die. So that, my friends, is the end of the season 8 recap. That's pretty much all you need to know. Also, season 9 and season 10 hopefully will be up very soon. Thank you for watching Resident Evil Go. Go check out the other recaps. Go check out my other videos. If there's anything other video you want me to do, leave a comment down below. Alright, y'all. See you next time.